Hey everyone, it is Ryan with Circle of Five Coaching. Excited to be on this today, just sharing some of the things that I've been processing. This was actually something that we introduced at our recent peer advisory group. It's a concept that I've modified a little bit since the group, some great feedback there. And just as I've continued to process content and what this really means, I've made a few adjustments. And so what I want to introduce you to is what I'm calling the three drives. This is the type of content that we have each month in our free online peer advisory group for manufacturing leaders. And if that's something you're interested in, would love for you to sign up. If you go to circleof5coaching.com/free, you can sign up for our peer advisory group and get on that list. But we'd love to have be a part of it. But let's do this. I'm going to get things going here. And let's talk about this idea of the three drives. And I think that this can be really transformational to your company, to your shop, for your supervisors, as well as everyone below them. If we can get this right, we're going to have an impact in our community. So let's get this going here. First of all, on our three drives, I want to start by saying what they are, because they might not be what you're thinking of. The first one that I want to identify is their drive. When I'm talking about I'm actually talking about the clients that you're serving. This is an interesting premise because the clients are ultimately the customers that you're providing materials to. But I'd also say the client is the next person that your fabricators are sending their material to, or your cutters are sending the material to. If our shops have that mindset that the client is the next person to receive the product, then it's going to improve the quality and the efficiency of our organization. But ultimately, for purposes of today, when we talk about the client, we're going to be talking, we're going to be talking about the client's need. Next, we have our need. That's a reference to the company. Your company has needs and drives. So what is the company drive? And then finally, we're going to talk about your need. That's the individuals in your company. What are the needs that they have that they're dealing with? Let's keep going. We make this mistake, particularly how we see each other. We see the employee as all they want is money. All they want to make is money. And if that's how we see our employees, if we think all this job is a paycheck, then we're just going to suck everything out of them until they don't want to be a part of what we're doing anymore. And that drive for money, if that's the way we see our people, it's going to distort dramatically how we lead our people. We also make this mistake. We think of there as the client. All the client wants is to make money. So they're getting it away from us as cheap as they can so that they can make a lot of money off of us. And if that's how we see the drive of the client, then we're sorely cutting away the potential on how we can work with them. And of course, the client and the individual on your team, how do they see the company? All the company is wanting to do is get rich off of us. And when we see people and organizations as only interested in making money, now keep in mind, making money is a key part of why businesses exist. We'll talk about that in a minute. But if all we see is the drive to make money, then we're really missing an opportunity to have a huge impact. Let's keep going here. So what are the three drives of these three entities? First of all, the individuals on your team. Your team members each have a drive that motivates them. It's why they get out of bed. Some of them know it, some of them don't yet. A leader's job is to help them find their drive. It's to help you understand who they are and why they get out of bed in the morning. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Then we've got the company, the our drive. Companies exist for two reasons: to solve a problem and to make a profit. We talked before about money being the only motivator, but companies have to be a solution-oriented company. What problem, what pain point are they solving for a client? And then they have to be profitable. If they're not profitable, they're not going to be sustainable. So those two are the core reasons a company exists. Now, there's a lot of sub-reasons, but they've got to solve a problem and they've got to make a profit. More specifically, companies have a niche down reason that sets them apart. This is their drive. And then the client. The client is usually a company for manufacturing, and they have two reasons. They want to solve a problem and make a profit, but the problem they're solving reveals their heart. It reveals their drive. So you as an organization and your team members need to understand the problem that they're solving in the heart of their company. Once you understand that, then you can provide better solutions. So let's think this through a little bit. I represent the three drives as their drive is that dark green oval. Our drive, or the company, is a large circle in the middle, and then the your drive is the small circle on the side. Now let's think this through a little bit. There's a whole bunch of drives within your organization, a whole bunch of individuals that have their own drive. We see illustrated here what is that, 13 people in your organization. Your organization might have 7 people, it might have 700 or 7,000 people in it. Every one of those people has a drive. They have a way that they operate and how they move forward. I think we need to be really careful if we just try to formalize everything and say everybody moves like this, and then we talk to each person with that mindset, we have a problem on our hands. The truth is, we've got to speak to people from the language that they're oriented towards. And then there's the theirs. If it were one person in the business solving one company's problems, then they'd really just be an employee of that company. But the truth is, your company has several clients that they're trying to serve, several solutions, several of those that we call the theirs, and each of them has a drive. They each have something that's moving them forward. Here's where it gets complicated. Our company has one drive, and then we have all of these people within the company that have multiple different drives. How do we bring this all together, ultimately to meet the need of our team members, to meet the need of our company, and to meet the need of our clients? That's the mystery. And some of what we're going to talk today is going to help us to think through how do we bring that together. So we talked about the 3 drives, and I want to talk about the 3 types of yours and how they operate. So there's 3 types of people in your company. Number 1, there's the steady. They just want to go and they want to know where they're going, how it's going to work, and they're just moving forward. These people are they're constantly focused on what they need to be doing. We all need these people, and these are the baseline people. If you have people that are focusing on how little they can do, if they're doing the whole quiet quitting thing, let's see what I can get away with, those aren't steady people. Those are unreliable people who aren't trying to capture the vision for their lives or your organization. But the steady person, this is the baseline person. We need these people in our company. These people come knowing what they want to accomplish in that day, and they stay focused on it. They don't get sucked into a lot of other things. They just stay on task. Next, we've got the break a sweat people. These guys, I've got the symbol of the hiker here. They're going to go up the hills. They're going to break a sweat. They're going to have some new adventure, and they're going to thrive when there's opportunities ahead of them. And they're going to give you their best. They're going to show up on a regular basis. They're going to be steady, but then they're going to go above and beyond that steadiness. And then we have the grind people. You see, I've got the symbol of a climber here. This is the person that they're going to go through the highs and the lows. They're going to have big ideas. They're going to claim new territory. They're going to think we could be something better than we are. And they're really going to push the envelope. Now, your organization needs all 3 of these types of people. You need the grinder, you need this guy that's going to break a sweat, and you need that steady person. But all 3 of these people, you communicate in a different way. So let's think through. In our monthly dialogue, our group had a conversation around this, and we asked these 3 questions. How do you motivate these 3 different types of people? How do you motivate the steady person? And one of the things we talked about is that steady person, they don't want a lot of meetings. They don't want unknown. They just want to know what they're going to be responsible for that day, and they're going to show up and they're going to do that. But every time you pull them off the line, every time you pull them into the meeting, every time you try to do something social, it stresses the steady person out because they know what they want to accomplish today. So you've got to motivate them one way. The break a sweat guy, they want a challenge. Put something before them. Let them know a goal that they can accomplish. Let them know the challenge of the day, and those guys are going to try to rise to the occasion. And then the grind guy, you need to motivate them by saying, here's our goals for the day, and then let's see what we can do beyond that. Maybe we can have some opportunity just to brainstorm about what else could happen. You motivate them by rewarding them to think outside the box. Now, steady guys, if you try to talk to your whole team about thinking outside the box, Your steady guys are going to get stressed out. They're going to get overwhelmed by that. They just want predictability. And if you try to tell your guys, hey, listen, we're not going to have any work for you later in the week, so we're going to have you stay home. And they're thinking, man, I'm losing out on my paycheck. I'm losing out on being able to contribute. This stresses me out. You're going to cause some of those guys to get overwhelmed. My whole point is this: each of these have a different motivation. And then here's some of the other questions. What's different about the needs of each? And what if the leader is different than a member of their team? Now, if you're a part of our monthly peer advisory group, it's an online group, we'd have some discussion about this. You'd hear what other shop leaders are thinking about these concepts and how they're motivating their team and how they see the application of this. Let's keep going. So let's talk about the company. Companies should have a dream. They should have a drive of what they want to become. And most companies are not thinking, how do we stay where we are? They're either thinking growing bigger, and sometimes there are companies that are thinking about shrinking because they've got out of their element and they don't want to be challenged. But the majority of the companies, unless they're winding down, unless they're closing, they're thinking bigger. And you've heard this phrase, you are either growing or you're dying. And that's the mindset of most owners, is they're thinking, are we going to move forward or are we going to bury this thing? So they're thinking, how do we get bigger? And then they're thinking, how do we get bigger after that? And they're growing. And each time they grow, they need more people and they need more systems and they need more structure and more vision. And that company dream is important. And when you think about growth, it affects different people in different ways. So when you start talking about growing, what's happening in the mind of your team members? Your steady people, they're thinking, what's happening? We're just not the company we used to be. Back in the day, we used to do it this way. And back in the day, the company cared about us as employees. And your steady people, man, this pushes on them when you start casting a vision for growth. So you send out an email or at an annual team meeting, you cast this huge vision. And when you're casting this vision, you're creating distress for the steady people who just want to come, do their job, and go home. The break a sweat people, here's what they're thinking. Let's go. I hope I get a promotion. And they're thinking within the boundaries of, hey, how can I do my best and create more opportunities, be more fulfilled, generate more revenue, and that type of thing. And then your grind people, man, they're thinking, I have another idea. I'm going to run this department, then the company, then I'm going to run the world. They have these massive ideas, these great visions, not only for the company, but for their lives. And when the company starts articulating the dream, your three different drives, the three different types of yours are processing the dreams in different ways. And so I think it's really important to understand that you've got a diverse makeup. And when you're communicating, you need to understand, how are you capturing the needs of each of these people with their different types of drive? So how do we bridge the gap with this mindset of, we have steady people, we have break a sweat people, we have grind people, and we have a vision for a company that's growing? Here's the key. You need to understand their why or their drive, and you need to speak through it. You need to talk to them at their level. You need to talk to them one-on-one. You need to have communication that goes out where you're covering all three levels, and you're telling the steady people it's going to be okay. You're going to tell the break a sweat people, hey, we've got some great opportunities for you. If you're looking to grow your career, there's going to be a place for it in our company. And you're going to tell your grind people, we're welcoming your feedback on how we can continue to expand and improve our company. And you speak to each person through their language, individually and collectively. Now, connecting their why or the client's why with your team or our why. Okay. So how do we connect those things? First of all, when you solve their problem or the client's problem, you can grow their relationship. If all you're thinking about is money, if all you're thinking about is parts out the door, and you're not thinking about the solutions that your client needs, then you're going to run into a problem. But when you start thinking of the solving their problem, you can grow your relationship because you add a practical value to their life. You're helping them solve their problem which is also going to help them be more profitable. Next, when you understand their mission, you can help solve their problems, even if they're not articulating them. So when you're working with a prospective client, whom we call the their drive, you need to understand the mission of your organization, because sometimes in the creativity of the moment, depending on who you're talking about or talking with, it starts to drift and they start to think about, we could also do this, we could also do this. And if you as a team have the savviness to say, wait, but isn't your goal as an organization to do this? Does adding that expense take us away from your goal as an organization? Now you're keeping them in their lane, on their mission, in their vision, and you're adding value, even if they're not articulating it. So I think as a team, you need to understand the end user's value or their vision and mission for their organization and the problem they're trying to solve. And then you're going to build a deeper relationship and have more value in that relationship. And then when your team members understand their mission and their problems, they feel a part of the solution. So how do you get their mission, their vision, and their problems known to your, not just our organization, but to the individuals of our organization? Then you get to provide a different level of solution, and your organization feels like they're accomplishing something in a powerful way. So there's two challenges for you out of this, and we're getting close to the end here. First, I want you to think about your drive, how you are wired. Are you a steady person? Are you a break a sweat person? Or are you a grind type of team member? You're just constantly full of ideas that you want to challenge the organization to achieve. How does that impact how you show up with your direct report? So if you're a steady person and you've got a grind person working for you, what's going to happen to that relationship? They're going to have ideas, they're going to have vision, they're going to have things they're pursuing, and it could create some friction within your organization. But if you understand that that drive person is there and wired that way, you might be able to leverage their insights to say, hey, we're thinking about doing this. How do we maximize this in our department? And let them create solutions to the things you're trying to accomplish. Or that drive person, you hold out something that your steady tendencies value, and you say, hey, my bosses are wanting more out of us. How do you think we can produce more as a team? And let that drive person help to improve your efficiencies and stuff like that. You need to understand how you're wired. Also, if you're a grind person or if you're a break a sweat person, you've got to be careful about the vision you're casting to create instability for your steady people. Because there are people that are a part of your department that just hold it all together day in and day out. And if they feel like things are constantly changing, you run the risk of pushing them away. They're either going to look for another department or worse yet, another company. So understand your drive and how you communicate that with other people. So task one is process your drive. Task two, about your team members' drives or their whys. Identify the team, the type of team members you have around you, and approach the grinder seeking ideas. Approach the break a sweat guy with achievable goals. Approach a steady guy, assuring them that what's coming up today and tomorrow so that they can know what to expect. See if that impacts how you engage people when you appeal to their drive, or what we previously called their whys, and move forward. So I'd love to know, what's your takeaway from this concept? I'd love to hear in your comments below, what are some of the things that you are valuing from this content that you're like, man, I can't wait to do this in my shop? Or if you'd be so gracious, if you applied something in your shop, come on back to this video and leave a comment on how it worked and the impact that it had. I would encourage you to like and subscribe. We're going to continue to put more content down here. And when you do that, that encourages me as well as gets more exposure for more people. So if you're interested in connecting further, having more conversation, I'd love to send you an assessment, the quick 4 questions that I have. And it's something you can do for your company. And then we can have a discussion online. No charge for that, but let's hear where you're at. And if there's a way for us to continue to work together in the future, awesome. But if just the tool itself brought some things out for you where you can be leveraging that, that's awesome too. I'd love to be a part of that with you. So again, I'm Ryan with Circle of Five Coaching. Thanks for being a part of it.